I would never determine the value of my life by something as insignificant as how I play a musical instrument. It does have the effect of a splash of cold water, doesn't it? Insignificant? What is he talking about? And yet, on some level, you know it's true. Compared to life, not music all the way, but you playing music and how good you play it is insignificant. Now, as cool as that sounds philosophically, it's also a strategy for what you want. Okay, I'm going to explain it to you. What happens when you think what you're doing is so important? It's a big moment, this defines me, blah, blah, blah. How do you play? Most people would say that was not even near what they could do, right? And then how do you play when you're just fooling around? Always better, right? So you even know that you caring too much about what you're doing is what's getting in the way of doing it. So now that you know that, you're never going to do it again, right? Exactly. That's where effortless mastery starts to come in. You can't just not care because you're neurologically programmed to care. And care in a not good way. You're valuing yourself. If you play bad, it's not just that you play bad, it's that you feel bad. And in an extreme way, but a very common way, you feel bad about yourself. Why would you feel bad about yourself? It's just the way you played. It's not you. So, I mean, we all kind of know it on a level, and another level, we don't want to give it up. So you have to deprogram something, which takes a little time, and then reprogram a genuine appreciation of, it's not the music, it's my state of mind. If my state of mind's the right place, I will play absolutely the best I can play on this day. I mean, from this point in my life. It's not a miracle or a trick. It's not like, you might actually play some shit you never played before. That's true. Maybe stuff you thought about, because it does elevate your whole being, right? But generally speaking, it's not going to be a miracle like you're going to play shit you haven't practiced yet. But everything you do play will come out as if somebody played it for you, really clearly, and you'll be watching it. And it can be burning, but it doesn't have any stress. It can be highly rhythmic, but it feels like a whole note. It can be really dissonant, but it sounds like a lullaby. When you have command and control of the elements, you can play with what everybody thinks they mean. So for me, that's a life goal. Anybody wants to do it by the time they graduate, don't even think about it, no. But I mean, it's still evolving for me. All I have to do is find something that I can't do. For me, I have no opinion about styles of music or what's appropriate or what you should be playing. And with respect, I wouldn't pay any attention to anyone that was trying to tell me what music was the shit, because that's not important at all. All music is rhythm, harmony, and melody. How is your rhythm? How is your harmony? How's your melody? If 1, 2, or 3 of those things are, I can kind of do it, I'm sort of good, when I feel good, if I don't have a cold, if I got enough sleep, or if I didn't sleep all night, sometimes if it's conditional like that, it's not where you want to get to. You want to get to the point where my rhythm, if I were everybody in the room, I would say, no, no, I'm not even close. See, that way you go, what exercises can I do to strengthen my rhythm? What exercises can I do to finally, clearly learn how to play lines? And then the thing about lines, you have to have tremendous patience. It probably won't be close to done while you're still in school. But if you can have the humility to practice lines in a really clear way, eventually what you understand about the lines themselves will just start to happen to you. But I don't know if that's 5 years or 7 years. But I do know that you'll always be playing better and better if you don't have the need to get anywhere. See, now we're getting into effortless mastery and this is the psychology part of it. You could achieve anything. I could say to you, and I have a few students in here that are really devotees, and yet you may be asking yourself, wow, it was working, what's happening, why am I not as connected as I was before, Because it goes up and down. So you make a decision, I'm practicing a philosophy so that it does, I'm not going to go up and down with it, I'm just going to keep practicing it. You don't stop brushing your teeth because, you know what I mean? It's about like brushing your teeth. I'm just working on my rhythm, And the way you do it is you pick a rhythm and you really kill it, but without even having to stress the left shoulder. When the hands are, or I'll give you an example. Rhythm is the best one to just have a forever relationship with. Not everybody needs that. Where are you from again?
Cuba.
Yeah, and you don't need, maybe it's not rhythm, maybe it's harmony, maybe it's the connectivity of lines.
It's rhythm.
Well, maybe it's rhythm too, I don't know, but everybody I ever heard from Cuba just kind of like kills it. And I'm sure, I heard you did too. But I know what you mean, there's levels, of what you can do, but then there's some bad people coming out of Cuba that can the rhythm, but it's Cuba, Puerto Rico, So that wouldn't necessarily be where they'd start, but maybe they would decide they want their linear thing to perform on the level of their rhythm. So now you're making a plan to work on melody and how they connect until you notice that that's what you're doing. So a lot of times you have a thing you want to achieve, but because of the ego, you give it up way before you would have gotten it. So somebody might have already passed some good things on to you to practice, but you would never practice them long enough to find out. That's a distinct possibility. So all of this calls into the need for a mind that can sit in the eye of the hurricane and not get pulled out. And it's a practice. Maybe you get pulled out all the time, but if you keep practicing being in the eye, you may notice that you're not getting pulled out as much. Or you may notice when it's happening to you, you're not as worried about it because there's a game going on here. And one day you were able to hit the ball over the net, another day life hit the ball over the net, you couldn't read. You know what I mean? But what you resolve to do, and then you forget about it, is to continue to practice. That is trickier than it seems, because it really goes great for a while, then nothing's happening or it doesn't work. So you make a commitment. There's no conditions under which you would stop brushing your teeth. You make like this, I don't sense a commitment. So just change your understanding. Okay, it's time to spend 10 minutes on this rhythm. If you did that and it never stopped, your rhythm would be different within the first 10 years. It have to be. Unless you did it, oh man, the rhythm, I really got into it for like 6 months. It's great. But maybe it needed 6 years. What's the difference? Without acknowledging, without just keep doing it and acknowledging, not worrying about how long it takes, let's say you were only going to do it if you were sure of, hey, if I work on this all 2 semesters, and say, no, I'm sorry, it could be 12 semesters, and that's not okay with you, you're not going to get there some other way. You won't have the patience. So it's a question of, do you want to get this incremental supply chain going, And this line, I mean, it's so easy to find something you can't do, and when you learn to do it, your playing expands. I could say blues and B flat, fine. The greatest players in the world, blues and B flat. Ask those players, piano players, blues and B. Oh, good, now I have something to practice. Because all the fingering is different. B is not hard, you just never played in B. So you would decide, I'm going to practice B until it feels as comfortable as B flat. Great, so what are you going to do now? Call blues and B on the bandstand? No. You're going to notice that when you go back to B flat, you are screaming. B flat feels so freaking friendly after you got comfortable with B. It's the effect on what happens, But all of it doesn't have to be that. It just be, in this eye, you always have to have at least one thing that's worth just going on. So let's say you have an example, it's of a rhythm, right? 4 bars or whatever. You get to the point where it's really happening, and you really can feel it's like you're just doing like someone showed me a square arrangement of Green Dolphin Street in 7, and 11. play on it, but it's not me yet. So I'm going to work on that until I could do anything I want to do on it if it was in 4/4. And you don't have the time in school, to go all the way back to the original subject. You don't have the time in school to deal with everything on that level. So first level is decide which courses you're resolving to do your best, but you're not going to you're not going to take it personally however it goes. You're just going to do what you have to do. Decide which courses you wish you had the time to really absorb, so you can give that a little more, and then on top of that, design this little egg in the eye of the hurricane, where you're going to really work on the next thing that would make you stronger, depending on your instrument, where you're at. Does anyone dare a second question? That's only one question.